Looks like the wrong piece of equipment for the time of year. Alright, so I'm going to try and do this without too much wind interference. It probably isn't going to work. But, yeah, we're going to go bail. We're going to bail. I got some work that needs to be done to the baler real quick before I go. And we're going to try out that new stack wagon. See if it works. We'll try it out. Oh, I'm getting a track. You couldn't hear me, but what I've got here, and I showed it on my Instagram. This baler is slightly different than that one. It's got this bull pull gizmo here, and oh shit, the battery's going dead. I didn't even use this thing today. Anyway, I bought this bolt. It's like a 1 1/8. I know it should be the same size, but they loosen up and then they shear off. I think we're close enough. That was a metric here on the bottom, and I'm just hoping that it works. If it doesn't work, well, then I'm going to stick a bigger hitch pin in there and call it somewhat of a day. But anyway, I'm going to pull this thing out of here, go over it. Timothy had used it last. He didn't pull the strings out, you can see there. But I'm going to go up and grease this guy here. It needs to be done and get on. Okay, so I'm back to baling. This is just basically a mow, bake, and bale. This is dry stuff. Joseph was running the mower. He mowed it ahead of time. But while I was in the Philippines, my father and Timothy took that bale of hay out of Heston 4910, and they got the brilliant idea that they should rebale the bale. And that's okay and all, but anytime you rebale a bale, it becomes a problem. So they broke one bill hook, and they had 2 knotters all wrapped up with baling twine. So it took me a little bit of time to get the damn thing up and running again. So I did get it going. Timothy's here with the stack wagon, and I don't know, he's acting like Homer Simpson with the damn thing. So he's, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so he's running the stack wagon, and it should be fine. I'll be back down here, and I'm going to get some footage of that thing going, if he gets it going correctly. You know, there's always a learning curve with new equipment and stuff, so I can't ride his ass too hard. And he is a stack master. It's just, he really needs to pull his head out of his ass and actually faster than that. It is on the 7810. 7810 handles it just fine. I know that the fine folks at Auto Align or Morris Industries, they weren't too thrilled that I was running it on a 7810. They're like, oh no, it's big enough. It's just not. It wasn't what they expected. They really wanted on an 8000 series Deere. But now he should be able to grab that with the spikes. There he goes, and that should grab them. Now he should be able. There, he's perfect. If he does it that way, it'll stair step, and I'm going to have to hurry up and get down. Well, I'll get down there. This stuff is kind of, you know, when you don't mow a farm for a couple of years, and that's what's happened here. This is a new piece of property to me, and it hasn't been done in like 3 years. So it's got some stuff in it. Not too bad. I was actually quite surprised. It was brush hogged and then let grow up, and then brush hogged and let grow up. And they didn't harvest it. They just brush hogged it. So there's a lot of thatch down there. But yeah, it's going to be okay. Let's put it that way. It's going to be okay. And what I'm trying to do, there he goes. Oh man, I wish I could get it. Got it. Cool. I figured I'd shut this off. I gotta get on the right side of them. See, this is stuff that happens to you when you don't brush hog it correctly. I'm gonna have to come and pop that out with a skid steer. Oh yeah, I gotta get this thing. I'm on the wrong side of the sun. Oh hell. Well, okay, so, alright. I'm just going to do a voiceover on this one. Yeah, so I had to get on the right side of the sun in order to be able to see this. Now, I talked to Timothy after we got done with this thing, and I asked him why he was having problems. If you watch right about now, he's about to have a problem. Boom, there it goes. Yeah, he didn't break the bail. It didn't break. But you just have to, yeah, you just got to understand. You just got to understand how this machine actually works. So there's a joystick, and you hold that in your right hand, and there's, I think there's 5 or 6 buttons on this joystick. Now, he's used to running the Gravity HD4SR, which you use your hydraulics, at least the one that I have. The newer ones, I think they have the joystick as well, and they run off of the Power Beyond. But the joystick, no joystick. The joystick on this particular model, the buttons are backwards from the way he normally would function the levers in, say, the 4960 or the 4450 or even the 8120. So that's why he's having so much trouble. He says, well, Dad, the button, normally I would pull the lever back, and that would be the back button, right? He says, but it's backwards. It's the button at the top is actually doing the function that the button at the back is if I was pulling the lever back. So it made a lot of sense to me as to why he was having so much trouble with this thing, because Timothy's really, really good at stacking hay, and it just seems like he's making these elementary mistakes. So it's not his fault. It's the fault of the the buttons, not even the buttons. It's just they're in the wrong spot. But anyhow, again, there's a learning curve to this thing, and there's actually some setup procedures that we need to go through, but I need more ground to do it in because this was only an 8-acre field or so. But so the paddle that pushes the hay to the back of the wagon, there's a speed setting that you can adjust. So when it hits the bale, you release the arms, and then it hits the bale. It's supposed to start out slow and then speed up as it goes down, so that it's inertia. Okay, so as that thing goes down, if it starts to lean forward or rearward towards the pallet forks that are on the back of this thing, the paddle will speed up and actually take up that gravity problem, and that needs to be set up because it's pushing too fast at the beginning, and it actually kicks the top of the bale forward towards the tractor, and then when it does start to go back, then it'll tumble because it's not going fast enough. So it needs to start up slower. The paddle needs to start up slower, and then it'll actually work a little better. Yeah, so just minor stuff, learning how to use the machine. He actually only got 11 bales on this stack instead of 12, but after this, he just took his time a little bit. And the other thing is, he's running crossways across the field, which is really not the proper way to do it with these stack wagons. You really want to follow the direction that the baler went, and you just kind of wiggle between windrows. So if you've got a windrow that has, say, 6 bales on it, and then 6 bales coming the other way, so you grab one on this windrow and you get it attached, and then you should match your speed to the bale spacing so that it works out really well, so that you can pick them up as quickly as possible. The other thing is, it actually makes it easier because you're not going across the field, leaving bales in one corner than the other. You start at the far end, and you work your way back down towards the low end to where you're actually going to be either leaving the field or stacking the hay. And I need to really, before the straw job commences, I'm really going to need to hammer this into these guys' heads that you go to the far end of the field and work your way back. because you're going to go all the way to the far end of the field as fast as you possibly can. Just zoom, 20 mile an hour down, and then you pick on the way back, and then you're not turning around, because every time you turn around, you're wasting time. You need to be going in straight lines. So you go all the way to the far end of the field. You turn around once, and then you come back, and then you're not turning around at all until you get to the stack of hay, and then you're going to back up, drop, and go again. So you really need to cut down your turning a lot. And if you watch Timothy, he'll grab a bale, and then he'll turn, and then he'll grab another bale, and he'll turn, and he's zigzagging across the field, wasting a tremendous amount of time. So there's a proper way of doing this and an improper way of doing this, and right now Timothy's doing this job as though it's the old stack wagon. And I had him stair step them. If you saw as this stack wagon just went past, that's the wrong thing to do in dry hay. In damp hay, you have to stair step it. But in dry straw type of hay, it really doesn't need to be stair stepped. You need to just grab them and go. So if there is a issue with what you're doing, it's because of lack of knowledge and the difference between damp and dry hay, and he's learning that as well as me, and Joseph is going to learn it, and Peyton's going to learn it, and probably Teresa's going to learn it. We really need to get this job correct the first time so we impress them. Anyways, thanks for watching.